Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So, Stranger Things season three. It is finally here. Season two, I think for many didn't quite live up to the expectations left from season one. Season one set the bar quite high, and so that was a very difficult thing to even do. But season three is finally here, and our gang, I believe, is going to be back together. I think, I mean, part of the crux of season two was in that they, I mean, 11 spent the most of that season, not most of that season separate from the rest of the kids, and I think for, we enjoyed season one so much because of the interaction between all of them so much that season two was just it was just a bit jarring for many of us. Um, and so in season two, she spent a great deal of time looking for her sister, who she had been separated from, and looking for her mom as well, who she did find, but um, wasn't quite what she expected, right? She did find her sister, who joined up with this gang, and I do hope that we revisit that storyline sometime later on. Her sister does have abilities as well, while somewhat different from hers, and it does open up a lot of questions in terms of how many of them are actually out there. She is actually number, I mean, 11. So does that suggest that there are other kids who may be alive with similar abilities that are out there? And for me, I was hoping that coming out of season one, that Will would have been one of those kids, and that may very well still happen. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most for season three, because Will, the actor, was absolutely brilliant in season one and two, but he did spend the majority of that time in a lot of dramatic roles, which, as a child actor, he did a phenomenal job. But I do want to see him graduate from that into his own, right. And I imagine he went through some similar circumstances that Eleven herself went through, while not in the lab, but he spent a great deal of time in the Upside Down and even being possessed by the Mind Flayer. So I'm hoping that he does derive some ability from that whole experience. But short of that, I mean, Eleven had some. She's living with the sheriff now, and they had a falling out in season two, and that's why she actually ran away, because she found out she was hiding all these the secrets from her that she didn't. He was trying to protect her, doing the fatherly thing, but she did in the end find her way back home and choose them. It was a choice between going with her sister and the family that she has now formed, and she chose them, and so we're all glad for that. We were at the end, though. I mean, we still didn't quite know where everyone was, right? Max is still in the picture. I've seen the trailer for season three, and I mean, the only concern I really have is the mind flare, the voice. I don't know if it is that he is actually speaking, or if it is a new host that he has taken control over that he's speaking through. But I would really prefer if if this otherworldly being didn't really have a voice. It does seem it's a lot eerier. It's eerie and creepy that way. If it is that he's just speaking through different hosts and not his own voice itself. I really hope they don't change that in this season. I suspect, based on what the trailer showed, that it may be a host talking, but it may not be. That's the only thing that I was kind of paused on the trailer. I was like, why did they give him a voice? It was just so much more menacing that he couldn't speak. But outside of that, I mean, Max's brother Billy, I don't know if he's gonna be one that is possessed. The trailer cut away to him when the Mind Flayer was speaking, so I suspect he might be. Given the problems that they are having at home, they made it a point to focus on him momentarily in season two. So I think he and Max will have a big part to play here, and I mean that can put a bit of a strain on the series on a whole. Having to focus on that many characters, it can get a bit convoluted, but season one, season two has done a great job of it so far, so I imagine this shouldn't be a problem for them either. Now, I mentioned before in my trailer reaction that one of my other concerns is Um, the threat level in Stranger Things seems to be escalating with each season. But at the same time, we have not suffered any major loss in the series so far. Um, and I said it before, I do not necessarily want to lose any of our characters. I love all of them dearly so much. I wouldn't want to lose any of them. But at the same time, the threat needs to feel real. And it's a bit difficult for it to feel real when we have young kids taking on creatures from another dimension, but somehow manage to walk away unscathed each season. So I would want there to be some loss to give it more weight. Whatever reason they're actually fighting, why the Mind Flayer is targeting Will specifically or this group of kids specifically, but there needs to be some loss to add some weight to that threat. Alright, so that's practically the only thing. We didn't get a whole lot of Hopper last season, or even Joyce for that matter, but she didn't lose her boyfriend in that season. He was the MVP of that season. Yeah, but I do hope we go back to form and focus a bit more on the family, and move on from there, right? We spent a great deal of time outside of the town last season, so we want to get back there and catch up with our group of kids and see where they are now, and hopefully a time jump. Again, the trailer did suggest that they would be, in new parts of their life now, when they're hopefully 11 herself will actually be integrating into high school, right? It would just be an interesting development for her because of where she's coming from and how awkward it has all been. We saw her reaction with Max and Mike before because she didn't know how to deal with that because it's not something she's accustomed to having to deal with. So it will add another layer to each of their characters to have them, in their school setting where they're most comfortable when these events happen, and having 11 now new to this world. I think for the most part they believe they're not being monitored, so Hopper can enroll her in school and do everyday things and see 11 in a normal everyday life, and then the Mind Flayer comes along and things get a lot more interesting. So that's pretty much what I am hoping for and looking forward to this season. Alright guys, episode 1, let's check it out. It opened up the gate, the portal where the Mind Flayer to the upside down. Simultaneous key lock.
Товарищ генерал.
Why are they that strong? Well, they just expanded the world. Just got a whole lot bigger. Oh, they certainly grown up. Yeah, I don't think Hopper approves. You know what's going on in there. Fall over. Chair falls.
Hey!
thing, I guess.
Open this door. Open.
What's wrong?
You know what?
Tomato.
I wish I was still with you.
I know. Me too. But I'll see you tomorrow, all right? First thing.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
If you guys keep whining about it,
Just please stop talking, dude.
let me guess. You were busy.
Oh, yeah. Real mature, Lucas.
Oh, Elle, I wish we could make out for.
Oh, I miss Lucas. We didn't get a whole lot of Lucas last season.
Come on, come on. I swear, if
Where are
anybody
they
hears about
sneaking
this,
to?
we're dead.
Glad to see Steve back though. Day of the Dead Marathon. I need a friend like Steve. I really do. I guess we're jumping right into it.
The hell?
It's weird. It's not just there, it's the entire town. Did something cross over. See? It worked. I'm sure it was the millionth time that did it. I see something.
Hey. You okay? Yeah? Are you sure?
How did it cross over?
Of course.
Why someone was missing? I totally forgot about Dustin.
What?
Relax, for goodness sake.
I'm in range. They should be answering.
They went to
Been
movies
away a
without
whole
it.
month, honey bun. Maybe they just.
At least someone's happy I'm home.
The invasion starting from the 80s. Really? Hairspray? Yeah, considering all the strange shit that happened to him last time, I can understand being cautious. Yeah, they're just messing with him. Who's gonna get sprayed in the face? Oh, Radio Shack. Without Bob. Save downtown. Go to mall. I guess some of the small businesses are closing down or losing business because everyone's going to the mall.
You busy?
It's good that they're actually exploring these elements that happen and not just focusing on the story, the main story, but this is actually what happened. The high-tech mall is becoming such a huge thing.
I'm gonna lose it. I mean, I'm gonna lose it, Joyce.
Just take it down, Hopper.
I need for them to break up.
That is not your decision.
They're spending entirely too much time.
I kind of agree with Hopper, actually. They kind of need to have do things outside of that, so I kind of agree with Hopper.
That is not healthy.
Another dad
You
is
can't just force them
expected.
apart. I mean, they're not little kids.
Little heart.
If you talk
What
to
is
them
that?
like you're
What
on
do you-
their
what do you
level, then
speak
they
of?
really start to listen. And then, you could start to create some boundaries.
Down.
Yeah, but, Hop, it's really...
Why aren't these two together, by the way? It just begs the question. I know it feels like they had a thing in the past, but...
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. You'd come over after work. Yes.
No, it only works if it comes from you.
Ah, Washington Post. So they only care that she brings them coffee, so I guess she's working as an intern or secretary or something. And I guess
Fold here, Bruce. And clearly you haven't seen Lucy.
I mean, I know everyone loves them all, but how many small businesses have closed since it opened? Like 5 on Main at least. It's changing the fabric of our town.
The missing
yeah.
mustard
I knew he
on
was
my
gonna go
hamburger.
there, asshole.
You think you can follow the clues and solve the case of the missing condiment, man?
Pretty neat, huh? But this is my masterpiece. I would like you to meet Old to South. I can talk to my girlfriend whenever and wherever I choose.
Girlfriend?
Girlfriend? Wait, so her name is Suzie?
I hope you know that I care about you very much. And I know that you...
Eye contact.
Okay. I don't think this is gonna go right.
Which is why I think it's important to establish these boundaries moving forward.
Who's looking? You know,
Trust it.
Okay.
Open
share our feelings.
to sharing our feelings. This isn't gonna work.
Yeah, no, and he knows how to bury a body.
You gonna have dinner tonight?
Okay. I was wondering why if he wasn't gonna ask her, but she's probably gonna say no because of Bob.
I have plans.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Still thinking about Bob.
She doesn't
Nancy
have
and Jonathan are
electricity.
together.
From Mormon. Super religious white people. They have electricity and cars and stuff, but since I'm not Mormon, her parents would never approve. Star-crossed lovers.
I got it.
Hey, guys! This is fun and all, but,
I have to go home.
We're almost there. Sorry, man.
curfew.
Alright. Where's the Willow?
This is Dustin. Do you copy? Over.
Is Suzie even real?
One sec. No, she's still there. Suzie? You know, maybe she's like busy. Yeah. It's around dinner time.
Yeah.
Here. Suzie, you copied stuff?
We gotta move on, Joyce. Yeah, knew it. Bob. Bob was a good guy, though. I have to admit, I did suspect Bob when he was first introduced. I figured he was working for the government and for the scientists, and I suspected him up to the end. Actually, he was just making out. Yeah, I think Harbor really needs to have that talk.
Why is it important to share our feelings?
Screw that, Mike.
A minute. Is that
Uh-oh. I think we're in trouble.
Okay, yeah.
you know what? But there's something very wrong with this thing between you and Elle.
Why didn't you say it back then?
Are you lying piece of shit?
You want to see real crazy? You disrespect me again. Okay.
Because that was disrespectful.
And I'm gonna speak, and you're going to listen. Okay, maybe I will continue to allow you to date my daughter.
It's lying.
Come on, Don Juan.
Where are you going?
Home.
No one ever believes Dustin.
Well,
It was the same thing last season.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think it's the point. Everyone's at the point where they're kind of growing apart. They're teenagers now. Kind of sucks.
Suzie? Suzie, is that you?
No.
Поездка в Китай звучит неплохо, если быть осторожным. Неделя длинная.
So these guys are now in the US? I guess that's how the manufacturer gets out. They tried the experiment again, and this time it worked, I guess.
Красиво. You don't mind if I call you Karen, do you? Good.
I think it would have been much worse.
Damn it! Damn it! Piece of shit!
Alright, so there we have it. The first episode of season 3, Stranger Things. And love is in the air. Those who weren't hitched before seems to be getting hitched now. Dustin Dustin was away. I don't remember if he had left in season 2, or this is a fast forward where he left and he's now returned. I think it's the latter. But he left, he's back now, and he has a girlfriend supposedly. Yeah, we haven't met yet, but the fact that they said it's a lie, I imagine that it's going to be true later on. Similar to the Demogorgon he found, the baby one that he found last season, and no one believed him initially until later on. So I imagine something similar is going to be happening here. But Dustin is getting hitched. Steve is trying to move on from Nancy. The very same thing. Hopper is trying to get with Joyce. And I mean, I think from season 1 we were all hoping that they would get together, but the timing just never seemed right. And then Bob got introduced last season, and clearly Joyce is still, she's still very much in love with Bob. We don't know exactly how much time has now passed between season 2 and 3. At least I don't think so. And I mean, it's not to say that there can ever be enough time to get over someone you love, but and I mean, everyone has their mourning period, because it's not like he left; he actually died. But I am hopeful that the Harbor Joyce relationship will sail eventually, because they make a good couple. So, and of course, I mean, Mike and Eleven are going at it, and as I said before, I mean, one of the things that I would have hoped to have changed, because last season we had rebellious 11, between her and Harbor, and I was hoping that, I mean, some time has passed. I would have hoped that they'd have moved past that. I know they're still teenagers, so I guess she's still going to be rebellious. He's still going to be putting his foot down as a parent. But we got rebellious 11 last season. So I wouldn't want to focus. I hope we don't spend too much time focusing on that this season, right? But that was pretty much the theme of last season, her not listening to Harbor and using her powers to shut doors and throwing tantrums and stuff like that, right? So I hope we move quickly past that in this season and focus on other things. But Harbor is stepping up. I keep saying Harbor instead of Hopper, but same person. Yeah, it's as I said. Even as a teenager, sure, have your girlfriend or have your boyfriend, whatever the case might be, but understand that you are under your parents' roof and some level of respect needs to be shown there. Don't be in your face with it. Hell, I mean, hide and do it or something. I mean, come on, right? But again, hopefully we don't spend too much time on that. We caught up with Nancy and Jonathan. They're through and through couple now, and working at the Washington Post together. Nancy, of course, is trying to make her way as a writer, and of course, I mean, back then misogyny, uh, even more rampant than it is now. So I'm glad, and one of the things I appreciate about this episode, and I imagine it's going to be a theme throughout, is that yes, there is a threat happening, the Demogorgon and these creatures that needs to be dealt with, but at the same time, in the backdrop, we're still touching on certain topics that would have been present in that timeline. It's so I mean, women's rights and stuff like that. The article that you wanted to publish about small businesses being closed down with malls popping up all over the place. So just things that are historically accurate and topics that they can tackle, in addition to the monsters and the otherworldly creatures that we're going to have to be dealing with. So that's something I appreciate very much. It's I mean, for season 1 and season 2, we've always felt like we were in the 80s, but at the same time, we never really. This feels more. It feels like growth. Like they've expanded the world, and I guess that's the intention. That's the point. That from season 1, season 2, we're seeing we're seeing a wider scope of how things are, how big the world is now, and our group in it, and how they navigate everyday life, right? So that's something that I appreciate very much. The Duffer Brothers have done very well season 1, season 2, and they have built on that for season 3 as well. So that's excellent. All right. So of course our main threat, the Mind Flayer, appears to be making a comeback, and they showed us a flashback a few years back with the test being performed. I imagine in Russia. And I don't know if that's the first instance of the gates being opened, or just the first instance the gates being opened in Russia and not the US. So there may be that, at least that's what I'm getting, that there are different gates in different countries, or similar to how nuclear power was discovered and then every nation wanted to develop their very own. So I'm thinking something similar to that. So the technology might exist elsewhere, and for all we know, it still could exist. It still could be going on, just not in their town anymore. But clearly, this particular group, who are Russian, since Dustin is able to pick it up, so I don't imagine that they're far from where they are. But they're attempting to open the portal again, or they seem to have succeeded this time around, which I'm guessing is why the Mind Flayer has crossed over again. And he seems to have taken Billy as his first victim. I don't imagine that he's dead. Again, based on how the last trailer was cut, I think Billy is just going to be one of his hosts, one of many. Last season we only saw him. I think we only saw him control Will, but I figure things are going to be a lot bigger, a lot bolder this season, and he's going to be controlling several different persons. Billy just happened to be the first, and of course Billy was a bit of an asshole last. Well, yes and no, because in some instances he was a dick to his sister and to the others. There were some racist undertones there, even with his treatment of Lucas. But at the same time, he, in his interactions with the others on his team, he was giving them tips, helping them to win and stuff like that. So even Steve, he was giving advice in the shower, which was weird, but he was still giving him advice nonetheless. So there seems to be two sides, and it's interesting that they do that within Stranger Things. Steve, when Steve was first introduced, you would think he would have just been a jock, but they added layers and layers to make him a bit more complex, and now we actually like Steve. And I think we may see the very same thing with Billy. Last season we got a glimpse of that with how his dad treats him at home, and that may be why he lashes out and he's like that, or not. It's easy to jump to that conclusion, but I mean, being bullied is no reason to bully someone else, right? So but I imagine Steve is going to be another character that we may sympathize with, similar to what happened with Steve. That may very well not be the case. Who knows? But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that actually plays out. Right. All right. So there we have it. Episode 1. Definitely looking forward to everything this season has to offer. Be sure to post down below. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you're looking forward to the most from what you've seen in episode 1 so far. All right, hit like or subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.